Hey, listeners, welcome to English Made Simple. Today, we are taking your everyday vocabulary and giving it a massive upgrade so you can sound more natural, confident, and fluent in any conversation.
We really are. And, we're moving way past those basic textbook phrases that just feel a little stiff.
Yeah, exactly. We're stepping into the actual rich, dynamic language that native speakers actually use in the real world.
And it is such an important shift to make. Because, learning a language isn't just about stringing grammatically correct words together.
Right. It's so much more than that.
Exactly. It's really about understanding the social choreography behind those words. The phrases we use, they're basically tools,
Mhm.
tools designed to make people feel comfortable.
To signal safety, right?
Yes, to signal safety and really just to navigate complex social situations without creating friction.
So think about it for a second. Have you ever felt like you keep repeating the exact same basic phrases over and over?
Oh, I hear this all the time.
Right. You meet someone, you run through this rigid script, and suddenly you feel more like a robot outputting data than an actual person making a connection.
Yeah, it's a terrible feeling.
It really is. So we are going to break that cycle today by mapping out the natural life cycle of a conversation.
I love looking at it as a life cycle.
It makes sense, right?
Yeah.
We'll look at how we establish contact, how we sustain momentum, and perhaps most importantly, how we successfully escape when it's over.
Yes, the escape is crucial.
Yeah.
But really, treating a conversation like a life cycle helps us understand that different phases require entirely different linguistic tools.
So you can't use the same strategy for the whole chat.
Exactly. The words you use to spark an introduction serve a completely different psychological function than the words you use to gracefully exit a room.
Okay, so let's start right at the beginning, at the point of first contact, introductions.
The hardest part for a lot of people.
Oh, definitely. And the standard textbook phrase here is usually something like, this is my colleague, Sarah.
Right, the classic.
But whenever I hear that, it just feels incredibly transactional to me.
How so?
Well, it feels like you were just handing someone a blank name tag and then walking away. I mean, it doesn't give anyone a reason to actually keep talking.
That's a great analogy. Sociolinguistically speaking, this is Sarah, is what we might call a closed-loop statement.
A closed loop.
Yeah, it is simply a declaration of fact. It requires no response whatsoever, which means it places the entire cognitive burden of continuing the conversation onto the two strangers you just introduced.
Oh, wow. So you're basically abandoning them.
Pretty much. So a much more effective strategy is to open a loop.
Okay, so how do we do that?
If you ask something like, have you met Sarah? We work together. You are doing two really subtle things.
Oh, I like that phrasing. Have you met Sarah?
Right. First, you are asking a question. And a question demands a response, so that creates immediate momentum.
Makes sense.
And second, you're providing social context. By saying, we work together, you're giving the other person a natural jumping-off point for small talk.
So it basically acts as social scaffolding.
Yes, exactly.
You're providing this temporary structure for these two people until they can build a conversation that just sort of stands on its own.
That's spot on.
Now, what if you were introducing yourself? The dynamic shifts a bit there, doesn't it?
It does, yeah.
Like the classic, hello, I'm Name, works, I guess, but I usually prefer something like, I don't think we've met.
Oh, that's a great one.
Yeah, it just feels like it acknowledges the shared space we're already occupying.
It does. I
Huh?
don't think we've met is really powerful because it removes any presumption. It frames the interaction not as an intrusion, but basically as the remedying of a social oversight.
Oh, that's a great way to put it. Remedying an oversight.
Yeah, it's a very gentle way of bridging the gap between strangers. And, the way we respond to these introductions matters just as much.
Right, because usually people just say, nice to meet you.
Exactly, which is fine, but that phrase has become so ubiquitous that it barely even registers anymore.
It's basically invisible.
Right. So if you want to convey a bit more gravity, shifting to, it's a pleasure to meet you, completely changes the texture of the interaction.
I find the mechanics of that specific phrase fascinating because it isn't just the definition of the word pleasure that does the work, right? It's the phonetics.
Oh, absolutely. The sounds themselves.
Yeah. Like when you say pleasure, it relies on that low frequency vibrating ZH sound.
Yeah.
Exactly. It physically sounds more grounded and formal than the sharp, quick sound of the word nice.
That phonetic weight translates directly to perceived authority and warmth. It's a highly effective tool, especially in professional environments.
What about if you're not in a professional setting?
Well, conversely, if you are in a casual setting and you want to signal low stakes and high energy, pivoting to glad to meet you does the trick.
Glad to meet you. Yeah, that feels totally different.
The word glad has a much lighter, quicker phonetic profile. It conveys this immediate, uncomplicated positivity.
Okay, let's look at a modern twist on this. Because we live in an era where we might exchange emails or direct messages with someone for, well, months or even years before we occupy the same physical room.
Oh, yeah. The remote work reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And when you finally transition from the digital space to the real world, saying, nice to meet you, feels like a glitch in the matrix.
Yeah.
Because you already know them.
Right. Your brain is essentially encountering a conflict between your established relationship and your new physical environment.
So what's the fix?
In that scenario, the culturally calibrated phrase is, it's great to finally meet you in person.
Ah, in person.
Yes, it validates the entire history of your digital communication while also acknowledging the novelty of the physical meeting. It resolves the cognitive dissonance perfectly.
That is so useful. Okay, but what about the delicate art of intervening?
Intervening, like jumping into a conversation.
Well, let's say you are at a networking event and you spot someone hovering on the periphery. They clearly don't know anyone and they look a bit lost.
That's always awkward.
Right. And I always want to pull them into the fold, but I worry that overtly pointing it out will make them feel patronized.
Yeah, that requires navigating a very thin line between being helpful and being condescending.
Exactly. How do you step in without making them feel weird?
You want to lend them your social capital without highlighting their lack of it. So approaching and asking, do you need any introductions,
Yep.
is a brilliant sociolinguistic tool.
Do you need any introductions? Oh, I like that.
It works because you are framing the situation around your ability to provide a service rather than their failure to integrate.
Oh, that completely flips the script.
Exactly. It offers them a seamless, dignified entry into the group.
Okay, so the scaffolding is up, the introductions are made, the ice is broken. This naturally leads us into the status check,
Ah, yes.
which brings up the most pervasive, overused question in the English language. How are you?
It is the universal default.
Yeah.
But honestly, it is deeply misunderstood by language learners.
Oh.
Well, the confusion stems from the fact that "how are you" is almost never an actual request for medical or emotional information.
Exactly. Even if someone's life is literally falling apart, they will likely just shrug and say they are fine.
Right, I'm fine, thanks.
And it often feels like a dishonest exchange, doesn't it? Like, we ask a question we don't really want the answer to, and we give an answer that isn't actually true.
It can definitely feel that way.
I mean, isn't that just a meaningless reflex?
It seems meaningless on the surface, but the reality is this exchange isn't about data gathering at all. It's a mechanism for social bonding.
Social bonding through a fake question.
Yes. The anthropological term for this is phatic communion.
Phatic communion.
Yeah. It is language used entirely for general social interaction rather than for conveying information.
Oh, interesting.
So when someone asks, how's life treating you? Or what have you been up to? Which just means what have you been doing lately? They are initiating a ritual.
A ritual, like shaking hands almost.
Exactly. They are signaling that they recognize you, they respect the social contract, and they are open to an amicable exchange.
Okay, so the dishonesty of the response isn't actually lying.
No, it's a polite fiction. You are adhering to the ritual to avoid burdening an acquaintance with unexpected heavy emotions.
That makes a lot of sense. The actual content of the words matters less than the willingness to just participate in the rhythm of the chat.
Precisely. And how we participate reveals a lot about cultural norms, actually.
Oh, really? Like how different countries handle it?
Yes. There's a stark difference in how various English-speaking cultures handle this ritual. British English speakers, for example, tend to default to minimizing phrases.
Oh, yeah. Like what?
They will say things like ticking along or can't complain.
Ticking along. I love that one.
It's very British. Their cultural norms prioritize stoicism and a real fear of appearing boastful.
So you don't want to sound too happy.
Exactly. Ticking along is a fascinating idiom because it evokes the imagery of a clock.
Oh, right. TikTok.
Yeah, it implies steady, mechanical momentum. Like nothing chaotic, but nothing overly celebratory either.
It's just perfectly neutral.
Right, and can't complain serves a very similar function. It establishes a baseline of neutrality.
Whereas in American English, you are much more likely to hear maximizing phrases.
Oh, definitely.
Like people will say, doing great, or Couldn't be better, even if it's just, a regular boring Tuesday.
Yeah, American culture leans heavily toward optimism and projecting success.
But regardless of the culture, once we've completed the how are you ritual, we usually pivot to establishing background. And people almost always ask, where do you work?
Which is fine. But while grammatically correct, where do you work, focuses entirely on the physical location or the corporation.
It's a bit limiting.
It is. A subtle but powerful upgrade is asking, what do you do? Meaning, what do you do for a living?
All right, what do you do?
This shifts the focus from the location to the individual's identity and skill set. It allows them to define themselves by their craft rather than just their employer.
And it is so much more accommodating to modern careers, too. I mean, if someone is a freelancer or bounces between projects, asking, where are you working right now, acknowledges the fluidity of their situation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's much more modern. And we see a similar nuance with location, too. The direct question, where are you from, can sometimes feel like an interrogation.
Or a demand for your entire life history.
Yes, can feel invasive, especially in diverse, multicultural cities. Softening it to, whereabouts are you from, completely changes the dynamic.
Just adding that one word, whereabouts.
The addition of whereabouts signals that you are asking for a general region, not a specific pin on a map. It lowers the stakes.
Are there any idioms for that?
Yeah, alternatively, utilizing a colloquialism like, are you from this neck of the woods, does double diddy.
Ah, the classic neck of the woods.
It's great because it asks about their location while simultaneously signaling that you are comfortable and fluent with regional idioms.
Okay, so we have navigated the introduction, we've completed the status check, and established their identity. But this is the moment in the conversation where the initial momentum starts to fade.
The dreaded lull.
Right. We
Yeah.
need a bridge to keep things moving. And this is where people inevitably panic and default to talking about the weather.
It's true. And, people often mock weather talk as the lowest form of conversation, but it is actually an ingenious social lubricant.
Really? Why is that?
Well, when you are speaking to someone you barely know, you lack a shared history or shared context. The weather provides an immediate, indisputable shared reality.
Oh, because you are both experiencing the exact same sky at that moment.
Exactly, is the ultimate neutral ground.
But simply stating it is raining doesn't really do much to build a bomb, does it?
No, it's too flat.
The key is to use the weather to align your perspectives. You don't just observe the weather, you invite them to validate your observation.
Right.
You say something like, beautiful weather out, or better yet, beautiful out today, isn't it?
Yes. The tag question at the end there, isn't it, is the crucial mechanism.
It's basically a prompt for them to agree.
It is a prompt for conversational compliance. You are gently compelling them to agree with you, which builds this microbond of solidarity.
And I feel like the solidarity is even stronger when the weather is actually bad.
Oh, without a doubt. Misery loves company.
It really does. Describing a gray sky as a bit dreary today, dreary meaning dull and gray, perfectly encapsulates that collective sigh of a Monday morning.
It's a shared grievance. But the real bonding happens when we discuss the forecast.
Oh, absolutely. There is a universal shared drama in complaining about the inaccuracy of meteorology.
Definitely. Saying, can you believe it's going to rain all day tomorrow? Or, I heard it's going to snow overnight. Unites both speakers against the unpredictability of nature.
It creates a safe external conflict.
Yes, you are teaming up against the elements.
And once you've established that rhythm and built that solidarity, the conversation naturally progresses toward a tangible objective.
Like making a plan.
Exactly. Which reminds me, if you've been enjoying listening to this, consider subscribing.
Oh, smooth transition.
Thanks. But seriously, swapping out your basic planning phrases changes the entire dynamic of the interaction. Because when we transition from small talk to logistics, the language we use dictates how the other person will react.
That's very true. If you use a blunt, direct phrase like, do you want to get coffee? You are forcing a binary yes or no decision.
It can feel really abrupt.
It can. Native speakers rely on phrasing that softens the request. Instead of do you want to, they'll ask, what do you think about getting a coffee?
Or, in British English, A staple is the phrase, do you fancy?
Yes. Do you fancy? As in, do you fancy a coffee?
It is casual, rhythmic, and it just lowers the pressure of the invitation entirely.
It does. And it has a lovely phonetic blend to it. It rarely sounds like four distinct words. It just sort of rolls out as dia fancy.
Yeah, fancy. Yeah, exactly. But I want to explore a different planning phrase, one that I think is essentially conversational manipulation.
Ooh, manipulation. I'm intrigued.
Okay, let's say I've already decided I want to order fish and chips. I don't actually want to negotiate, but I want to maintain the appearance of being accommodating.
Right. You want to seem polite.
Exactly. So I will ask, any objections to fish and chips tonight? To me, that is basically a polite trap.
A polite trap is the perfect way to describe it.
Mm-hmm.
It relies entirely on the psychology of friction.
Psychology of friction.
Yes. By framing your proposal around the word objections, you're placing the burden of conflict entirely on the other person.
Right. So to change the plan, they have to actively disagree with me.
Exactly. They have to introduce friction into the interaction. And since most people are conflict avoidant in casual settings, they will simply go along with it.
Because it's easier to just say no objections than to fight it.
Exactly. It provides the illusion of democracy while heavily steering the outcome.
It is brilliantly sneaky. I use it all the time.
I'm sure you do.
Now, if you actually want a real democratic process, you avoid the trap entirely. You ask something like, what do you reckon?
Yeah, what do you reckon is an open invitation for their opinion. It's very collaborative.
Or, if you are in a formal boardroom setting, you elevate that same concept to, I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Yes, that signals deference to their expertise rather than just casual alignment. Context is everything here.
Truly. The language of the pub is not the language of the boardroom, even if the underlying goal, which is seeking agreement, is identical.
Absolutely.
So, okay, the plan is made. The objective of the interaction has been met.
Right.
But this brings us to the most dangerous part of the conversational life cycle.
The exit.
Yes, the liminal space where the chat has lost its purpose, and we have to figure out how to escape. We have all been there.
Oh, it's the worst. The silence stretches out and you know you need to leave, but suddenly pivoting or just walking away feels like a massive violation of the social contract.
Why does it feel so violating, though?
It feels like a violation because abruptly ending a conversation basically invalidates the connection you just spent the last 10 minutes building.
Oh, that makes sense. Like you were just faking it.
Right. You cannot simply say, can we talk about something else? Or, I am leaving now. That's way too clunky. You need to utilize linguistic transition markers.
Transition markers.
Think of them as cognitive bridges. They allow you to shift gears without jarring the listener's nervous system.
So if you just need to change the topic smoothly, phrases like speaking of, or that reminds me, or maybe before I forget, are invaluable.
Yes, those are perfect. And even if the connection between the two topics is incredibly weak, the transition marker itself signals to the listener that a pivot is happening.
It softens the blow.
Exactly. Or, in a business setting, you might use, well, I've got you here.
That's a great one for the office. But what about the physical escape? When you actually need to leave the room entirely, moving past just, see you later, see ya.
The polite escape requires shifting the responsibility of the departure away from your own desires and onto an external force.
Blame something else.
Always blame something else. If you say, I've got to run, but it was great to see you, or the classic British phrase, I need to shoot off, you are protecting the other person's ego.
Right. You are implying that you desperately want to stay and continue this fascinating chat, but the unforgiving constraints of time and scheduling are pulling you away against your will.
Yes, it perfectly preserves the goodwill.
I often pair I must be off with a phantom watch check.
A phantom watch check.
Yeah. I'll look at my wrist even when I'm not actually wearing a watch.
That is hilarious, but it works. The physical gesture reinforces the external constraint. It provides visual proof that time is the enemy, not your lack of interest.
But honestly, the most sophisticated escape mechanism usually happens in a seated office environment.
Oh, the universal office departure.
Yes. This is a phenomenon that completely fascinates me. You are sitting at a desk, chatting with a coworker, and when it is time to end the interaction, people will inevitably slap their own knees or maybe slap the table.
Yep, the knee slap.
Take a deep breath and say the word right before standing up. Right, let's get back to it, or right, I must get some work done.
It's universal.
Why is that specific choreography so universally effective? It's like we need physical momentum to break the gravitational pull of the conversation.
That is a perfect description. It is exactly about breaking gravitational pull, or more accurately breaking social inertia.
Social inertia.
Yeah.
Explain that.
Well, when two people are seated and engaged in dialogue, a psychological stillness settles over them. The conversation develops a sort of mass.
Like it has its own weight.
Yes. And to disrupt that stillness without causing offense, you need a highly visible, undeniable punctuation mark.
So the knee slap is the punctuation.
Exactly. The physical slap of the knees acts as a physiological reset. It creates a sudden noise and movement that alerts the other person's nervous system that a state change is imminent.
Oh, wow. And then the word right acts as the verbal confirmation of that state change.
Precisely. Right functions as an authoritative transition marker. It closes the current chapter. When you combine it with the physical movement, it effectively releases the social tension in the room.
So nobody feels awkward.
Right. It gives both parties permission to drop the social performance and return to their solitary tasks without feeling dismissed.
It is brilliant. It really is a complete life cycle, isn't it?
It really is.
We started by building social scaffolding with "Have you met Sarah?" We navigated the polite fictions of ticking along, bonded over the shared reality of dreary weather.
We definitely laid a polite trap for dinner.
Yes, the fish and chips. And then finally, we broke the social inertia with a knee slap and a well-timed, right, I must be off.
When you look at it from a macro perspective, utilizing these nuanced phrases isn't just about showing off advanced vocabulary.
No, not at all.
It is about deep social calibration. It signals to the listener that you are safe, that you understand the unspoken rhythms of human connection, and that you know how to navigate shared spaces with grace.
It moves you from merely translating words in your head to fully participating in the culture.
Absolutely.
And that actually leaves me with a final, rather provocative thought for you to mull over.
Okay, let's hear it.
We've spent this entire time analyzing how upgrading our phrases changes the way other people perceive us. But does the language we use actually change our own internal state?
Oh, that's a deep question.
Think about it. If you stop using rigid textbook responses like, "I am fine," and you start casually dropping phrases like, "ticking along," or "what do you reckon?" do you fundamentally start to feel more relaxed in your daily life?
Does the casualness of the language seep into your personality?
Yes. Does speaking with less friction literally loosen up your worldview?
It is a profound concept. I mean, the words we choose to deploy inevitably shape the cognitive reality we experience every day.
Definitely something to think about the next time you catch yourself running on autopilot. Don't forget to like this video and drop a comment sharing your thoughts, and subscribe for more.